Debbie Spink is the co-founder of Peachtree Perinatal Wellness and the mother of 2 girls. She has a pretty remarkable story of her own experience of postnatal depression and how she's used that experience to inform the work that she now does so well. Please welcome Debbie Spink.
Thanks, Sue. I just quickly wanted to back up what Kate was saying on stats. Right now in Metro North there's probably 1,850 women walking around, or probably not walking around, but curled up in their beds with postnatal depression. So I'm quite certain we don't have the services to support all of those women currently. So I told my obstetrician at 14 weeks pregnant with my second daughter that I was considering terminating my pregnancy because I felt so awful. I don't recall the exact response, but I remember feeling as though he thought I was being flippant, and I wasn't. Somehow I continued to exist through this pregnancy, but at no time did I emotionally connect with the baby, and I recall thinking, I just can't wait to get this thing out of me. Not once throughout the pregnancy was I asked by any medical professional, family member or friend, how are you feeling about this pregnancy emotionally? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Worried or excited? As an expecting mother, it feels as though it's a given that you're happy about being pregnant and that you can't wait to meet this baby and enjoy the incredible bliss of motherhood. No need to ask about this emotional stuff. She was born. It was an uncomplicated delivery, and immediately I wanted to disappear. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with her. Could someone please just get rid of her? Please take her away? That's what was in my head. I spent the standard few days in hospital, and not once was I asked about any of those emotional issues. I was a second-time mum, so I was pretty much left to my own devices, the assumption being she knows what she's doing. Well, I may have had some knowledge and parenting skills, but that doesn't always equate to a healthy mum. Here is what actually happened. I continued to want nothing to do with her. I resented her every time she needed me. I had a scowl on my face every time I looked at her. I became angry, I cried, and I cried, and I cried some more. I rocked, I ignored, and if I did speak, it was usually yelling at my children. My other daughter was a toddler at the time. I had ongoing thoughts of, I want to go away and never come back. I want to throw her out the window, I want to throw her into the wall. I don't want to do this, I can't do this. I just wanted to go away and never come back. I was completely incapable of experiencing any happiness or joy, and I hated every minute of my life. I shared this with absolutely nobody. I avoided going out. My husband knew something was wrong, but he had no idea what it was. He tells me 8 years later he went to a GP to ask for help. I have no idea why he did not take me as evidence. The GP told him that all mums are tired, just get in and do a bit more around the house. He did that, and I felt worse. It was like shining a massive spotlight on my complete failure as a mother. Not only did he have to go to work, then he had to come home and do all the housework that I hadn't got done during the day. Thankfully, that same obstetrician at my 7-week checkup, it was actually my 6-week checkup that I delayed for a week, could tell something wasn't right, despite my efforts to cover it up. He insisted on psychiatric intervention, and over the next 4 months, I made a slow step towards recovery from postnatal depression. Full recovery took years. At the risk of making this obstetrician the star of the story, he had one more part to play. He sent me to the psychiatrist, and as I left his offices, he said, I don't know why you're depressed. Your labour and delivery were fine. Really, this is what he thinks leads to postnatal depression? That, to me, demonstrates a lack of knowledge. I'll admit my daughters are now 11 and 9, so you may be well thinking, well, things are a bit different now. And I'm sure some things are, but we have a long way to go. At the end of last year, a very good friend of mine had her second child. She had suffered from postnatal depression with her first, and had that diagnosis and was being treated for it. Her obstetrician and staff were very much aware of this diagnosis and her situation. During her stay in a private hospital after her birth, not once was she asked about how she was feeling emotionally. In fact, she sneaked a peek at her own chart, and on the page where the nursing staff were to record the result of their inquiry into her emotional state, to which they credit, they recognised that they should inquire, the boxes were ticked to say that it was done and that she was fine. She was never asked. So this story alone highlights several holes in our system. The private system, where 30% of mothers birth their children, is very much behind in how it manages perinatal mental health services. There's a lack of trained staff to detect perinatal mental illness. Why did the staff fail to ask my friend about how she was feeling? Did they not know the right questions to ask? Were they afraid of the answer? What if the mum wasn't okay? Do they know what the next step is if someone's not doing really well? Do they simply not have enough time to ask these questions and make the assumption on the appearance of mum that she's doing well? People, when I was in hospital, may have thought I seemed fine too. I most certainly was not. My story highlights several other issues within our society. The biggest one, in my opinion, is the lack of knowledge, followed closely by stigma. I'm going to start with stigma, and sorry for the reverse order, but you'll understand. Stigma is being decreased, I think, in general regarding mental illness. But perinatal mental illness is a true niche group. It's about mothering. Our society has taught women that they're expected to be able to do it all. We can definitely breastfeed as long as we just try hard enough. We can do all the laundry in an environmentally sustainable way. We can cook healthy and organic food. We can look after our other kids with no disruption to their routine. We can keep our house not only running, but looking clean and tidy. We can look beautiful for when we entertain guests who want to see our perfect baby. We will regain our pretty baby figure in next to no time, and perhaps we'll start up our own business from home and become rich in our spare time. Are you freaking kidding me? I support mums every week, and that self-expectation still exists. We're in an era of independent career women who are struggling with maintaining their self-perception while adding babies and mothering to their life. These mums don't want to say that they're not enjoying this or that they're struggling. They fear judgment, and mostly from other mums. They find it very difficult to distinguish between sadness and struggling relating to a mental illness and simply being a failure as a mother. If we're not doing well, we lead to the thought of failure. Every mum in the world has done this and enjoys it. I must be the worst mother ever. I most certainly had those thoughts. So on to lack of knowledge. Now that we understand how strong the stigma is in the perinatal period, how do we combat it? Knowledge. But not just knowledge to expecting mums, but knowledge to the broader community. Let's upskill those who surround new parents, including clinicians and the general public, and place the responsibility of family emotional well-being on everybody. We should all be taught how to recognise the signs and symptoms of PMI and how to intervene in an appropriate way for the long-term well-being of our society. The perinatal period is the building blocks of our entire society, and we should value it that way. The topic of infant emotional well-being is one I'm also very passionate about, but one that we don't have time to address here. But suffice to say, by supporting parents, we are changing the direction of the emotional well-being of the next generation. Now, for me, that's bang for buck. We should be taught how to be proactive, not reactive, how to prevent, not treat, how to intervene early and not wait until crisis point and then act. If there's one thing I've learned about mental illness and emotional well-being over the last 10 years that combines my personal experience and my role as Managing Director of a charity that supports families experiencing PMI using education and peer support, it is that the key is connection to others. We are biologically social beings whose primitive instincts is to connect to others and be in healthy relationships. If we create a system that fosters this, we will go a long way to meeting our goals of early intervention and prevention of PMI. I certainly noticed in the presentations earlier about continuity of care or continuity of carer that the mums' experiences, they wanted to express how they felt through that journey. It wasn't the physical things that occurred through that journey, it was the emotional experience they had through that journey, and that's what we need to focus on. Thank you.